I've got my volume up, so make sure.
Yeah, I've got mine down and I'll be muted.
Okay. Hi, Alistair. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Here I am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. So who else are we expecting?
I think Paul Francis has accepted the meeting and John Wolfe.
Oh, John, I thought he was on vacation still.
He may be. He may have accepted all of the meetings or something like that. So
Um, well, while we're waiting, I can't get bot versus bot when I compile with Sierra. It just gives me challenge not accepted.
okay, so it's sending the challenge. It's just responding and saying that it doesn't work.
Yeah, and I put it, I tested the return value from the challenge and it said challenge not accepted, or I can't remember what it, but words to
Okay.
that effect.
And that's the bot versus the Maya one.
Yeah.
Hmm. And it didn't, do you remember if it gave any detail, any code of why it?
Well, I think your Java interface doesn't capture everything. There are messages and status stuff and so on. And I, you know, I really don't know what I'm doing in that area, but I try to. In fact, also when I try to run even with verifier with a very large number of, one of my optimizations was to say I'm only interested in moves that have targets in the opponent. And then I decided, well, let me see for comparison purposes, what happened if I want to evaluate all moves. And when I tried to do that, before I finish evaluating even the first set of moves, it comes back with game finished. And I think it's some sort of a timeout.
Okay.
And I don't, and that's running with verifier, which is pretty slow.
But starting, so
And
that's running against your human account.
no, that's running against the bot.
Right. Well, the bot is running in verifier, but who is the bot playing
Oh,
against?
Maya one.
Oh, okay. So in verifier it's working, but in Sierra it's not.
Yeah, right.
Interesting. And there's no differences in the model. That doesn't seem to make any
And
sense.
the only difference is commenting out the chat send challenge at the end of the connect.
Right. Huh. Yeah, that doesn't
I'm kind of not really concerned because it turns out my grade optimization for trying to avoid reevaluation doesn't make a whole lot of difference, because the big difference is picking only interesting moves that have targets. That's a huge change in the amount of work that's done. But it turns out that the average game only evaluates between 15 and 25 moves, target moves. I mean, that's about the number of times that you're in a position where you could take somebody. It's a surprise to me that it's so few, but I guess actually when you think of it, that chess has this 50 move rule, that means there are not that many moves that are decisive.
yeah.
So so actually I haven't done much more work. I mean, I thought to do a little bit of instrumentation of that, but mainly I think John and I have decided, well, we've we've done enough along this line of attack, that is trying to model the human's approach to
Yeah.
chess, and it's time to maybe write our script, which I've been working on. So
So it is your latest version of your model published to your Git repository?
um yeah, no, I have an unpublished branch where I'm fooling around trying to do some instrumentation, and Oh, and I came, I have yet to raise that issue with Sierra, but um, Verifier is quite happy for me to stash
Set of
a handle
instances.
to a set as
Mm,
a, I mean, the reason was, if you think about it, I think in the ordinary modification of the base game, our turn is where everything happens,
yeah,
right? And but when I decided I would like to potentially show evaluation of a set of moves as concurrent, that means I have to break that into before evaluation and after evaluation, because after evaluation I need to pick the one I like best.
right.
And so first I have to pick the target moves, the moves that have, that have opponent targets. Then I dispatch an evaluate event to each of them. And when they're all finished, I kick into a new state that says consider moves. And that's where I look across. Well, I thought to stash the set of moves that I've selected before evaluation and then look at them after they're evaluated. I thought to stash the set as an attribute, between the two states, and Sierra won't let me do that. So
Um, so I think that a good thing if you are tapering off of the development effort, I think that it would be a good time for me to fork your or to pull down your repository and see if I can build your implementation and run it on my machine. I think that would be a good test
sure.
because I'll have to do that eventually in order to run the tournament, so might as well get started on that.
Yeah, I'm afraid my game turns out to be pretty dumb. It once managed a draw with Maya 1, but otherwise Maya 1 just screams it every time.
Well, I think Maya 1 creams mine as well, but uh beats me pretty regularly. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so that transitions into my update. I don't have much to say. Last week I had just barely started working on the tournament runner.
Hmm.
And I'm still working on that. It turned out that I was unable to reuse as much as I would have liked of the API connection, so I had to do some quite a bit of extending of adding of interface messages to that API um, to support a third party kind of observer to set up matches and then keep track of them and create new matchups when they're done. So I'm still working on that. That's going to be my focus. I'm done as well with my implementation.
Well, before you try to take mine and use it, I'd better fix that stashing the set handle. That's not, and that's in my latest committed version. So I'll fix that and let you know.
Okay, sounds good. Is there anybody else that wants to give an update?
I've got, it's kind of only loosely related, and then I'll also say a few words about the conference coming up. Since the last time we met, I solved a problem in MC 3020 that had to do with the way that two timers with identical expirations are ordered. But while working on that, learned that there is something that I'm calling a zero duration timer idiom. And I'm actually interested enough in this that I'm going to make a presentation for the conference about it. And I don't want it to be a spoiler. But the key thing is that we Schleiermacher modelers violate and circumvent the expedited event to self all the time because we need to sometimes. And so I'm going to give a presentation that talks about using the example of the chess bot, Levi's chess bot has a mode where it will go think as hard as it can, as fast as it can for some duration of time. And then when a timer pops and it's time to play the move, he'll select whatever his, best next move is and play it. And then go back into starting to think about, okay, the next one. Well, while he was thinking, he's got this event to self, and the timer could not interrupt him because his object had a self event. And so there's different ways that we circumvent that. And I have discovered that, at least in the Mazel world, the most common way to hide the fact that you're sending an event to yourself is to start a timer with a duration of 0 with an event to you. And MC3020 actually gives you another option, because MC3020 keys on the keyword self. So if you just assign self to a transient before you send the event, then MC3020 won't accelerate it or expedite it for you. But I find it amusing that we have this rule we've had it since 1996. And we abuse the heck out of it, and it'll be a fun discussion on conference day. But that 0 duration timer idiom didn't work very well in MC3020, and when we were pitting the Sierra compilation against the 3020 compilation, the 3020 compilation was slow because Levi's setting the timer to 0. There's a rounding that has to happen in MC3020, and so it was rounding up to a small increment of time. And so there's no such thing as a 0 duration timer in MC3020. And so it was actually trying to wait for 0 microseconds, but firing up the timer and then letting it expire actually takes some time.
Can I ask a quick question? How does the semantics of the 0 duration timer equate to a self-directed event? Because the self-directed event is one where you know that will be the next event that gets processed, whereas something that has 0 duration just gets put at the point where it fires. Doesn't it just get put at the back of the queue?
That's exactly right. And so
they're different.
It's different.
That's the point. That's the point.
That's the point.
Sometimes you want to send an event to yourself and for it to go to the back. You don't want it to go skip the line, because then then you might starve out something else.
Okay.
So think about a state machine, an object state machine, and you want it to run as fast as you can. And so you've got a self-directed event, and you're going through 2 or 3 or however many states, but all of those events are directed to self. Well, that's an infinite loop that cannot be interrupted by either a timer event or an event from somebody else. And we modelers run into this situation fairly regularly. It's not in every model, but it's a common pattern. And so we have to somehow circumvent the expedited event to self. We just do. And there's a couple of different ways to do it. And in Mazel land, and I see it in a couple of places in our protocol verifier models where we have used that 0 duration idiom so that we can send an event to ourselves, but not have it be expedited.
Yeah, I was puzzled when I saw that in Levi's model, until John reminded me of why it's there. And oh yeah, I remember.
Well, and so this will be a methodology discussion. Should we have an explicit keyword that when we send an event to ourselves, whether maybe a keyword that says expedite or don't expedite. But for the moment, I'm going to elevate this 0 timer idiom to be the preferred. Because like you said, Alistair, you saw it and you're puzzled. It's like, what the hell?
Exactly.
And so that's kind of what we need. We need something ugly and clunky until we have an agreement on how it should actually look in the actual language.
Yeah. It's ugly and clunky, but it also it's not incorrect in its semantic, or it's not inaccurate in its semantic rather. I mean, what you're saying is schedule this event to occur sometime after at least 0 seconds.
Yeah, if you have forgotten the reason that it exists, it's it's
It is
I
strange.
hadn't thought about it for a while, and I looked at it, what the hell is going on here?
That's exactly right.
And actually, just a point of slight correction, with Sierra, or the issue that I was getting around in the chess model, was a particular weakness in Sierra. It wasn't even an event to self, but in Sierra, the timer events are lower priority, or timers themselves are lower priority than regular events. So self events go first, then regular events. Then once all of those events are held or are handled, timers and signals can get handled. And so even though it wasn't an event directed to self, if there's a situation where the application continues to generate events and never stops,
Yeah, the
timers
timers have to get in.
the timers never get in exactly. So
Yeah.
Interesting.
there's some interesting history behind that design decision, but won't get into it in this meeting.
Okay.
It's kind of cross-purpose, but it'll only take a minute. And the chess tournament kind of is the highlight of the conference. So I'm going to share one of my screens here. And you just see my whole screen.
Oh,
Okay.
that's what you want. Yep.
No.
So this is a weird, markdown format table, but you can see that the conference, these are the speakers. Can you see my mouse? Yep.
Yeah.
These are kind of the predicted amount of time. And so what the clock will say as the conference goes forward. So I'm going to do the welcome and opening. Mike Lee will make some comments. Levi will kind of give keynote 2024 chess challenge, followed by Colin. And is this just Colin, or is this you too as well, Paul?
I doubt it will be me. I haven't actually contributed much. I haven't been around a great deal to be able to do that with Colin.
Yeah.
Is he? Do you know if he's back next week?
I know that he's still in Portugal.
Yeah. So I'll try and catch up with him next week, but I suspect it'll be just him. He's done all the work.
And his model looks good, and he's kind of ready to build his video.
Yeah.
We'll do some mixing, take a break, and then I have John and Alistair, or is that going to be just Alistair or just John?
It'll be both of us, but mostly me, I think.
Okay. Levi, I've separated out the actual kind of tournament presentation from the presentation of the technical merits of your model.
Okay.
And then we'll take a break. I'm going to give my presentation, which will be a combination of my very simplistic algorithm together with discussions about the code gen and the issues that we had running verifier, Java, and C. And then tooling update, that'll be kind of around the table. I say I've got it recorded, but it'll probably be just a live with 2 or 3 different people giving updates on things that have happened in the tooling. And then that zero duration timer idiom presentation I will give will go around the table with everybody, and closing remarks, and then happy hour. And the conference will only be it won't be 4 hours. It'll be more like almost 3 hours. And so almost, Alistair, this is, I guess, mostly for you, but you're cued in. I also wanted to hear from Paul if I needed his name here besides Collins.
No.
Do you see any comments or concerns with what you see here?
Your timing says we just have 10 minutes, John and myself.
I don't want it to be long, but keep it under 20-25 minutes.
Oh, sure, it'll be less than 25. I mean,
Yeah.
it may run to 15. Maybe.
The thing is, we've got plenty of time. People are expecting 4 hours, and it's going to be less than that. So I am not going to crack the whip and make people keep it super short. Yeah, but 10 to 15 minutes is kind of.
Yeah, I just, we may not squeeze it into 10, but I doubt we'll overrun 15.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds really good.
How many
I
have we
don't
got
want to bore
signed up?
people, but it's funny, once you start writing the script, there's more than you think to be said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. I mean, and we've done some interesting things here, and we've had some good meetings, and I'm gonna be writing my scripts here pretty soon. I already have this one, or
Mhm.
this one. The script is basically written. I just need to make it fun.
Mhm.
How many have we got signed up for the conference call?
It's around 10 or 15 people so far. So the largest contingent so far is coming from BAE. So Dave Skinner has 3 people in addition to him, maybe 4 that are signed up. And then otherwise it's kind of the same crowd.
Yep.
Which
I
is,
guess we're missing Annie this year, presumably.
yeah, she's not signed up. But I intend, you probably saw in the announcement email, that me and Levi will be in the UK.
Yep.
And I expect that we'll have dinner with Annie somewhere
Yep.
along the way.
Over that weekend that you're here.
Yeah, we're 3 days in the Portsmouth area to start with.
And then how's the Cheltenham thing panning out? Are you planning on meeting up with the regulars there too?
Yes, but unfortunately, I won't meet with John T. Every time I try, he's got some issue. We'll see if he can make it to dinner this year. Dinner's on Monday night, conference is on Tuesday, dinner in Sweden is on Wednesday. That's my update.
Okay. If there are no more updates, then we can just end here.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for coming, guys. See you next time.
Cool. Okay. Bye-bye.